This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello, this is Igoro, host of the Igoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, welcome to the Steve and Crypto Show presented by thestevestrout.com. I am Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. You have reached episode 115. We are continuing the Crypticon discussions, the Crypticon hype here.
The Hype Fest.
Yeah. I mean, if we haven't already said it 100 times, it's like our favorite convention out here in the Northwest. So, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a con that is pretty much nothing but horror. It's representing the horror fans that are all over the place, you know, hiding under rocks, hanging out in their basements, watching Night of the Living Dead, watching Halloween, whatever it is.
So you're saying we could come out of the basement for the weekend of May 19th through the 21st.
That's correct.
And go to Seattle.
That's correct. At the Doubletree.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's the Doubletree
Something
in
like
Seattle,
that.
I believe.
No, it's by the airport.
Yep. So yeah, it's a horror con inside of a hotel with all your friends that you haven't met yet.
And they have a swimming pool.
Yeah, they sure do.
Don't know if it'd be warm enough for the swimming pool. Last year there's people swimming.
And they have coffee, which is something that we both enjoy.
They have coffee, a swimming pool, and they have a little gift shop that has really expensive Snickers bars. That's what you live off of all weekend at the convention. Like junk food and coffee.
Yeah.
Like, and don't even shower. Just jump in the pool every once in a while to rinse off. But yeah, episode 115, we are continuing the Crypticon Hype Fest. Like I said before, it is our favorite convention. Between Halloween and Crypticon, it's like our favorite times of the year.
Yeah,
So
who
it's
knew
coming.
that I would grow to love May so much? But I do. The month of May means Crypticon time.
And the month of May is also a good time to support this podcast.
May we ask for your support?
As I mentioned, we are the Steve and Crypto Show.
May we mention?
And there's a lot of ways you can support the Steve and Crypto Show. One, you could head to Patreon, patreon.com/SteveCrypto. You can go there and pledge any amount monthly to support the show, to help us promote, it'll help us grow, to help us improve gear. Everything goes into the show to help us. Things we've done, we've upgraded recording equipment, we've bought ads in some of our favorite magazines like Scary Monsters. We've used it to support other creators and stuff too. So that's Patreon, patreon.com/SteveCrypto. You could go as little as $1 a month.
There's an assortment of content there. One of the last things that we did was a Scream spoiler discussion. And I think we're going to be recording some Evil Dead talks soon as well.
Yeah, let's spoil that movie for him too. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I just spoil stuff on Patreon. That's a way to get people to support. Like, yeah, throw us money and we'll fucking ruin movies for you.
I mean, it's been out for almost a month now.
Yeah, I was actually
hurry up and go see it.
I was actually late to the party watching that one.
Yeah.
I just watched it last weekend, so it's still a little fresh. We also have merch. I actually just sent a t-shirt to one of our supporters. One of our patrons, actually.
Awesome.
Sent a t-shirt because every once in a while I like to do nice things for people that, support us and show us love. So I sent her a t-shirt.
And she's likely listening right now. So thank you. And
Not right now, but when
maybe
recording
not right now.
airs, she'll listen. I hope.
Yeah.
I'm hoping she's not just like a patron and don't listen. That'd be weird. I'd be appreciated. I'd enjoy it and love it, but I'd appreciate it. But yeah, merch. We have a merch shop set up through Etsy. So you can head to Etsy and type in Steve and crypto merch. And this page will pop up that has all kinds of cool stuff. There's like 4 whole items on there. There's that famous mug that makes everything taste better. There's that magnet that can hold anything to your fridge. Any kind of piece of paper. Your kid does a drawing, even if it's ugly, you can still stick it to your fridge with one of our magnets, and it'll distract people. Our beautiful logo will distract people from your kid's ugly fucking picture. So, yeah. Not saying your kid's ugly, I'm just saying the art leaves a little to be desired. So there's a magnet. There's
Here's
2 different
the shovel.
t-shirt
Keep
designs.
Keep digging.
2 different t-shirt designs. Yeah, hey, your kid sucks at art. Come support us. But 2 t-shirt designs. There's the white t-shirt with the full logo on it. Then there's the black one with the white logo, which is the one that I prefer to wear because fat guys don't wear white.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Too many.
I wear the white one and I kind of look like fucking Frosty the Snowman with our logo on my gut. But not a good look for me. So there's that.
Also, you get mustard on your shirt and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No fun.
Mustard on the shirt. Also, there's Buy Me a Coffee page, which works kind of like Patreon. It's all the money goes into the show, but it's more like a single shot, like a tip. Like, leave us a tip. You go in there and put any amount you want. Leave a few bucks. Leave $1,000. I don't care.
I'm glad you told them to leave a tip as an actual money because, the first tip that comes to mind is make a better show.
I mean, yeah, well, that's what the whole point of supporting us, so we can make a better show for you.
Yeah, and if you support us a lot, we'll really do our best to
what's
make the show better
funny
for you.
is kind of trying to be promoting our show here, but I kind of want to mention John Brennan's podcast, John and Yuki's thing,
too.
and
Yep.
how they got like their $28,000 patron level.
Yeah.
And he's like, you could pay $28,000 and we'll give you an exclusive video that we say a bunch of fucked up shit and you'll cancel us. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Shout out to John Brennan. Shout out to Mutant Fam. Anybody listening.
They're like the only people listening.
Go check out, well, I mean, you already know the show then, but Yuki and John's Patreon buffet. It's awesome.
Their theme song is stuck in my head all fucking damn day at work.
I have to do the ding,
Ding. Yeah.
along when I hear it. Yeah.
Social media. Follow us on social media. He is CryptoZoo88. I am the Steve Strout. I've been the Steve Strout for 100 years now. It's crazy. Think how long I've been doing nerdy, dumb shit on the internet. Like, it goes way back. Not to go off topic. But yeah, follow him and me. We're on Twitter and Instagram. I'll circle back here in a second. We do have the Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search the Steve and Crypto Show podcast. Join that group. Post some stuff in there. Jump in on some conversations.
I want to see what you're working on.
Yeah, exactly. Find something new that you want to support. But I was going to say about going way back doing stuff. Some of my earliest days of like interviewing people and internet media stuff was for an old wrestling site. It was so long ago that I can't remember the name of the site. But I ended up interviewing a bunch of cool people, like the Valiant Brothers, who are like wrestling Hall of Famers. I fucking interviewed young CM Punk, a bunch of people. But we need to get some. We've been saying it. We need to get some wrestling flavor on here.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
Yeah. I know somebody. I got someone in mind.
I got some too, but they're hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
My dream guest, if anybody has a connection, I want to get fucking Danhausen on here. So anybody listening, if you meet him somewhere, see him at a show, just say, hey, you need to go on the Steve and Crypto show, or they'll curse you.
Also, if anybody listening happens to be close to Mr. Jericho, I think that's a mutual one for us.
Yeah,
someone
mind
we
chatting
would
with that guy.
love to chat with one day. So tell him that he needs to come and be on our show. Otherwise, we're going to put him on our list.
I don't know if he's doing the list anymore. It's been a while. I'm really listening. I need to get back into watching some wrestling. So
I haven't been watching any of, to be honest.
So I can make topical comments about wrestling stuff.
Yeah, I can't really come up with anything current.
Yeah,
all my stuff is from like
everybody's
2000s.
Dead now, that dead or retired that were around last time you watched.
Yeah.
Anyways, did I say the Facebook group? Yes, I did. Go join the Facebook group. So Patreon, merch, buy me a coffee, follow us on social media, do all the stuff. And most importantly, leave us ratings and reviews wherever you listen. Good reviews only.
That's
please.
right. Yeah.
Don't leave shitty reviews.
I'm raising my eyebrow real high for those bad reviews right now. It doesn't really work for an audio podcast, but just know if you give a bad review, you get that eyebrow raised.
I don't think it'll prevent anybody. Even if they can see it, they'll be like, whatever, dude. I don't care about your fucking eyebrow.
Yeah. Are you having a stroke? Are you okay?
You good? Yeah. You good? But, yeah. Do that. And we are also part of the Deluxe Edition Network. Would you like to tell them about that?
We sure are, yeah. So we are part of the Den, the Deluxe Edition Network. You can go to deluxeeditionnetwork.com and check out a wide variety of shows that they offer. There's like at least 20 different podcasts on there. All different subjects, sports. We're not just the only horror guys on there. There are several shows. If you're into horror, there's several that are on there to enjoy. Comedy, movie reviews, all types of different things. So the two featured shows right now, the podcasts of the month, are The Real Drunks and Horsing Around. Now I'm still late to the punch on checking out Horsing Around, but like I said last week, I've listened to Real Drunks. They're really fun. They're a good
those
time.
guys are fun.
Yeah,
for sure. All the shows so far, I've checked it a little bit here and there, as many of the shows as I can, time permitting. But everybody is just like good, and they're all just fun shows.
Yeah.
Like no one has like a fucking stick up their ass. They're all just like having a good time.
Yeah, all of the shows that I've listened to, they all
fit
sound
in
like,
really well.
Yeah, they all sound like they're having fun, like they enjoy podcasting like we do, and it shows.
That's how it should be, I think.
Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, the Deluxe Edition Network. Where can people find the list of all the shows?
Well, I've mentioned that, but that was
say it again.
DeluxeEditionNetwork.com.
And I forgot to tell you to say the
Etsy/shop/Steve Crypto merch. Go there and get one of those coffee mugs. It would make Steve's Mountain Dew that he's drinking right now taste so much better.
Yeah, usually
I'm not really a soda guy.
I'm a little disappointed in it. I haven't. Every once in a while, I'm like, hey, that sounds good, and then I drink it, and I'm like, fuck, that sucked.
Even when I drank soda as a kid, I would maybe have a Mountain Dew once in a blue moon, and I kind of had the same feeling. Like in your mind, you're like, that sounds really good right now. I'm gonna get that, and then you're reminded. And I was more of a Sierra Mist 7-Up guy myself,
but I fucks with that fucking Mountain Dew Baja Blast at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that good shit.
I didn't even try that until we had a chat with Jade the Libra.
She was like, yeah, drink the Baja Blast.
She's practically sponsored by Taco Bell.
I tried it. and it was good, but it just reminded me that it's good.
Yeah.
Talking with her, I was like, fuck. And we drank it, and then whenever you go to Taco Bell, we get it.
Yeah.
It's like dessert.
Hey, and speaking of
then
Jade,
it helps you Baja Blast those fucking tacos out of your ass.
Speaking of our friend Jade, Congratulations to her. I know she hasn't had the baby yet, but
They're about to.
they're about to.
Shout out to Jade and Dallas.
Yeah.
Congrats in advance.
Yeah.
So where are we at now? Crypticon.
Yes.
It's Crypticon time. We have a really amazing guest for this episode. We interviewed Kelli Maroney from Chopping Mall and Night of the Comet. But before we get to that interview, we want to mention a few of the interesting vendors or vendors that we know that are going to be there. And we'll just name off a few of them.
Yeah.
Get you guys hyped. And if you want more info on them, you could go on the Crypticon Seattle website. It's crypticonseattle.com. And you can get more info on these things. But
Yep. Of course, everybody that goes to a convention is hoping to find a celebrity guest there they can maybe meet or get a photo with or autograph or whatever. But honestly, like, the vendor booths are a lot of fun and you can meet a lot of cool people that way. Just you can really have good chats with some of those folks and maybe see them again the following year. Like I'm saying that because some of these vendors have been there in the past and we have chatted with them. We've even had them on the show. There's a couple of them that we'll mention that are friends of ours, and we're looking forward to seeing them again this year.
absolutely. Yeah, it's always a good way to find collectibles and, one-of-a-kind art or merch and all kinds of cool shit to add to your spooky, creepy collections. I know we're talking about all these things. Not everybody listening is going to be able to attend Crypticon. They're not in the area, but we do encourage you, if you have a horror convention in your area, check it out. Support it. Support the vendors. Meet your favorite celebrities. Support these conventions. Keep them going and growing. It's a blast.
And you make a good point about not everyone being able to attend. If you're listening and you're too far away, but some of these booths that we describe, some of these vendors might sound interesting to you. If you go to Crypticon's website and look at the vendor list, you'll notice that almost every one of them has a website link.
Yeah.
So even if you're like, wow, that thing that they're talking about sounds really cool, I want to check that out. I can't get there, but maybe, I might want to buy it.
A lot of them do online sales.
Go to Crypticon's website and just look at this list and find them and click on that, and you should be able to get what you need.
A lot of these artists and vendors sell stuff on Etsy. So you could go to Etsy and get some cool horror merch. And while you're there, you can head over to our merch page and get a mug. Get that mug to drink out of while you're listening to all the Deluxe Edition Network shows.
There you go.
So, a couple of cool vendors that I'm looking forward to. Some that I know, some I don't know. Like, there's one called Casey Coffin. I'd never heard of that one. I don't know if they're new to the convention or not, or I just missed them. But
they were there last year.
Were they?
Yep.
Okay, but
I got a card from him.
Okay, so I was looking just quickly at the site, and it looked like they do a lot of drawings and art inspired by monsters and movies and stuff, which is right up our alley, and this shit looks really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I bought a magnet from him last year. I know I got something from his booth.
I probably did too, and just not really remembering.
Yeah.
Last year was when we all almost died of COVID, right? Or was that the year before?
That was last year.
That was last year, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
With the crazy accusations.
Fucking COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
If people choose to go to a convention during COVID, they gotta realize you're taking a risk. You can't blame anybody else for you getting sick or anything. You chose to go to
a big crowd. It's
event with a mass population.
Yeah. Who else? The Poshness Monster. I seen that one. It looks kind of cool. This person is taking like toys and turning it into jewelry, like creepy looking shit, and it's pretty cool. Eli Wolf, he's a friend of the show. He's a staple at all the Northwest conventions. He does really cool, fun pop culture mashups. Like half of my fridge is covered with Eli Wolf magnets. I'm sure you got a few too.
I do. Yeah, and I guarantee you guys that are listening, if you go, you're going to find something in his booth that you like.
That you love.
That you love, yeah. I mean,
This shit really stands out.
like, it's tough because you might want to buy things from a couple different booths, but when I see his stuff, it just, like, I can't decide. It's hard because I usually find a few magnets or
and he
stickers
always has a
that I
deal,
want.
like 6 for $25 or something.
Yeah.
And feeling really ambitious. Go back to last year on the Steven Crypto Show, last year's Crypticon preview episodes, and I'm pretty sure we talked to Eli. Last year or the year before. I know we have him on the show at one point. Another Northwest convention regular is Misty Figs, who does a ton of stickers and jewelry. I've even seen some like fucking really cool custom Funko Pops and stuff that she's done. But yeah, she has everything from like cute to creepy, just all kinds of cool shit. She's super cool, and I've known her a long time, and she's good people and super talented. Who else do I got on my list? Arkham Bazaar, who was on our show prior. They're part of the Lovecraft Film Festival down in Portland, but they have a ton of Cthulhu and Lovecraftian designs and their clothing and accessories and stuff. They got some cool shit. And I always look forward to seeing the Nile Nightmares people. They run like a big haunt out in Shoreline, that area. And it's always cool to see like their displays they set up, and they have a lot of their characters walking around in their costumes looking all crazy and spooky. But yeah, they do that, and they come and kind of tease the haunt and hype that, because that shit's huge every year. I need to get out there and actually see the haunt. But what else we got on that list? There's a ton of fucking vendors this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more than last year from what I can tell. So we have LVP Publications, that's Lichen Valley Press. They're a small publisher of horror, steampunk, dark fiction, and pulp. They publish novels, novellas, anthologies, and author collections, as well as miscellaneous herbal items. So that sounds kind of interesting. And then there's Boots and Cats. Freaky geeks throwing out quirky and spooky designs to our friends and community.
Okay.
Yeah. Clockwork Art is a returning booth. And I know that for a fact because I have some of their magnets on my fridge right now.
Yeah, that one sounds familiar.
Yeah. So Clockwork Art is Braden Duncan. They do watercolor critters featuring mechanical, fantastical, macabre, and pop culture. They're taking over the world with the strange and the adorable. So it's a lot of like illustrations of cats in different poses with horror movie costumes on.
Like themed, yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm pretty sure I have one of Ash at home. It's a black cat holding a chainsaw on a boomstick. And I think I have one or two other ones, possibly one from Nightmare Before Christmas. But let's see, we have Edwards Art and Design. Edwards Art and Design is a maker of weird and wonderful things, specializing in hyper-realistic etched pumpkin and wire-sculpted fantasy taxidermy called Cryptodermia.
I think everybody's making weird and wonderful things at Crypticon.
We love the weird and
I'm for it. Yeah.
all the like creepy goth stuff they have there. It's fun. It's a really, really good time. Collage-orama is going to be there. So artist and author Matt Dinneman sells books and his artwork featuring scary cats. Everybody likes cats.
Yeah, there's a couple cat booths.
There's a lot of cat stuff. Yeah.
You know, I think we get enough help from Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Maybe someday we'll be able to set up at Crypticon.
That'd be great.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because I sure the fuck can't afford it.
Hopefully we'll be there to set up next to Chibi Yeti, who is going to be there this year and possibly in the future too. A lot of these
Eddie or Yeti?
Chibi Yeti.
Yeti, like the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeti. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you said
Chibi-
Eddie. Like
Nah. Chibi Yeti. So they're a 2-member art team based out of a studio in Bellingham, Washington. We screen print, illustrate, make fabric art, and experiment. And they're big nerds.
fitting.
Yeah. There's a lot here. Our friend Angela from Morbid Heart Designs,
She'll be there.
she'll be there. She describes herself as rainbows and death, bringing this duality into her art. Sometimes it's creepy, sometimes it's cute, sometimes it's both. I agree with that. We've had her on to chat once before, and go back and listen to that one if you want to.
I should use that on my bio. I'm gonna use that on my IMDb page. Like sometimes cutie. I can't even talk. Never mind.
Sometimes creepy, sometimes cute,
Creepy.
sometimes both.
I tried to combine creepy and cute to cupie.
Cupie.
That's weird. What about the patch companies? Evil Thread?
Yeah. Evil Thread's gonna be there.
They're cool.
They pretty much specialize in all kinds of like spooky patches, things
Yeah,
like that.
find them on Instagram. He does a weekly patch giveaway, which I won a Terrifier patch a few weeks
that's
back.
cool.
And yeah, I might actually talk some business with him soon too.
Well, I love their name.
I think we need some Steve and Crypto patches. Who would wear? Give us input. Who would want to buy a Steve and Crypto Show patch to put on like your bag or on your hoodie or just to buy and fucking do whatever you want with it, as long as you buy it and give us money. But I think it would look cool.
Yeah. You know what also would look cool is a coffin shelf in your house.
Yeah.
I need one of these.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a booth at Crypticon called Coffin Collector, and they make unique handmade coffin-themed furnishings such as bookcases, tables, mirrors, and they're from Portland.
I've been following their stuff on social media. They do some cool shit.
Even if you're not going to make it out, but this sounds like a cool thing that you'd be into, at least look at the website and check out the pictures, because I'm looking at it right now and they're pretty cool.
Go head over. You can find all these vendors at CrypticonSeattle.com.
Yep.
I want to mention one last cool vendor. It's kind of a vendor / celebrity guest with Eugene Clark.
Yeah.
Who played Big Daddy on the Land of the Dead. He's always there, and he has like a ton of collectibles, zombie themed stuff and everything. And part of the show, he'll go and in character as Big Daddy, and he puts on like a little mini prosthetic around his eyes to give him that look, and he puts in contacts, and he always looks creepy, and he takes crazy pictures, and he always scares the people before he takes it, so they look all fucking terrified. But he's like a fun vendor / guest, and kind of wanted to lead into saying guest because I think the next episode we are going to talk to Matthew Patrick Davis, who portrays the mother on Barbarian. Baby. But leading into that conversation, we're gonna mention a few of the guests that are going to be at Crypticon. We have the guest, possibly my guest that I'm most looking forward to meeting at Crypticon is Kelli Maroney, who we are talking to on this episode. So we are going to dive into that. Let you guys learn a little bit about her. We tried to talk less about Night of the Comet and Chopping Mall because every interview kind of basically is about that. And she's going to do her panel at Crypticon, and I'm sure it's going to be all about Night of the Comet because her co-star is there as well.
But hey, for those who can't make it out, enjoy this next segment.
Still going to dig the interview.
Yeah.
I try to keep it that way. We try to keep it so even if you can't come to Crypticon, we want to put out some cool interviews with some cool guests. That just happened to work with Crypticon. Last week, we talked to Jeremy Rudd and Jason Brooks from the movie Diced, which is coming out hopefully in October around Halloween time. And that sounds awesome. You don't have to be here to enjoy that. Like, you
Right.
don't have to be at Crypticon to enjoy the Kelli Maroney interview.
But hey, if you are going to be at Crypticon, you'll likely bump into those two at the event. As Jason has
Jason will be there.
portrayed
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees many times before in like smaller like tribute films and things like that. So he's going to be there likely in character.
We're going to be there only on Saturday, and you probably will be there Sunday.
Yeah.
But if you are going to come, hit us up on the social media. I told you where to follow us, and let us know. We'd like to connect and say hi and just, take some pictures and give you some stickers or something and see what else we could, see what kind of mischief we could get into together. So hit us up. We might even have some recording equipment with us, and maybe we'll have you pop in on the podcast for a few minutes.
We'll split one of
hi.
those expensive Snickers bars together. I'll share one with you.
If I pay fucking $8 for a Snickers, I ain't sharing with nobody. Just saying, I didn't fucking earn this.
I'm buying a Butterfinger. Don't you dare lay a hand on it.
I didn't earn this sweet fucking physique by sharing Snickers bars with people. Okay.
Don't put a finger on my Butterfinger. You get your fingers bit.
I ain't putting my fingers anywhere near you. Don't worry about that. But anyways, let's get to this chat with Kelli Maroney. You guys gonna dig it? We had a blast talking with her. We'll be right back with trivia and to say goodbye.
This is horror host Lee Turner with After Hours Cinema, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show, a must-listen for fans of indie horror and the classics, also featuring some great fellow horror hosts.
Hey kids, I'm Jax, host of the podcast Here for the Booze. Grab a drink and join me in discussing themes in movies, movie recommendations with mild spoilers, movie trivia, decorating my creepy corner, my horror vinyl collection, and horror documentaries. Be sure to check me out on Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram. I'll be sure to give you the lowdown of all your favorite horror and maybe something new for you to enjoy. Come find me.
This is Fiona Durov, and you're listening to the Steven Crypto Show.
All right, we are on the Steve and Crypto Show, and we have a very special guest. First, let me little backstory here. We are getting hyped up for Crypticon in Seattle. You guys know that's our time of year between Crypticon and Halloween. That's like when Steve and Crypto shine. But we have I consider her a legend. She's a horror icon. You know her from Chopping Mall. You know her from Night of the Comet, Fast Times at Ridge Mountain High, and she's popped up on a million other things like True Blood. And she really don't need introduction, but we're going to introduce her because we are on audio. If this is video, you would know Kelli Maroney, but we have the one and only Kelli Maroney. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on. We got to hype this show up because it's fantastic.
Definitely.
It's gonna be a good time, that's for sure. Before we jump in talking about Crypticon, I want to kind of avoid the same million questions you get. You probably hear questions about Chopping Mall and Night of the Comet over and over. I want to know. We love them, but I want to know a little more about you and your background in acting.
Oh,
Which led to those things.
okay. Just start, I guess.
Let's just jump right in. Let's go for it.
When I was all the way back when I was a little girl, I wanted to be three things: either the Virgin Mary, a movie star, or the Virgin Mary. So there's only really one to shoot for. But when I was growing, you didn't just go around going, I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be, because it was a real practical, community, and you just didn't go around giving yourself airs like that. But I got involved. I got accepted into the National Shakespeare Company Conservatory, and so when I was a kid, I went to conservatory school in the summer, and while I was there, I knew I wanted to go back, and I'd already graduated, and my mom was like, why don't you get out of here, because you're basically looking at it. This is what's going to happen. Probably, she's got all of her kids are already grown up, and she was I'm like, well, I can predict this. You're going to get married and then you're going to end up a secretary, like whatever. And she goes, if you want to do that, why not? Just go do it, which was great. Except for when I got to New York, skipping ahead, I would get so homesick because it was so out of my experience. I would call up, and this is a payphone, right? And I'd be going ugly cry. I'd be going, I'm so scared. And she'd go, you stick it out. Because and she was right. She was right. But that was the version of a pep talk that I got. But I'm so glad that she did. And it must have cost her something actually to do it because she was by herself. And so, I mean, she could have very selfishly not wanted me to do it, and she instead said, go have your life and have it be the way you want it and make it happen, which a lot of people don't have that luxury. A lot of times their parents or their family will fight them on stuff. And she didn't, which was
That's great.
amazing. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
You
So,
grew up in the Midwest, right?
yeah, Minneapolis.
So I can imagine New York was quite a shock.
Only thing we knew about New York was New York City was in the movies, like in the 50s when they'd show New York, we had no idea what New York was like. And when I got there in the early 80s, it was still a dump. It
Yeah.
was,
Gritty.
I mean, when I saw Broadway, I couldn't believe it. I could, because you read about Broadway and everything, and I couldn't believe it. But it's since obviously cleaned up. But when I was there, it was still Hell's Kitchen where we shot. So long story long, I went there. I was going to do the summer, the fall conservatory program, and I was looking for a place to live, and I only had $500 on me and to my name, and I was too young to get a job. I think I got rolled at a Blimpies. So I was the victim of one of those scams. I mean, I was an idiot. And plus I was too young. And then I couldn't obviously rent an apartment. So I went to this woman that found you like living situations. And I don't have a job. I don't have any money. I'm underage. And she goes, my friend is a casting director and they're casting a soap opera and they want this Midwestern Lolita. Why don't you go? And she didn't know what else to say to me. I mean, she couldn't get me a room. I mean, what was she going to do with me? So that just happened to pop in her mind. I forget her name. I never saw her again. And so I went and they said, well, slide your picture under the door and we'll see what happens. And it's just something about the fact that of what kind of transition I was in there where I didn't belong anywhere, didn't live anywhere. It was just like, would you free fall out of a plane? I got the job and I had no business getting that job. I had no experience on camera. All these other professional actresses, and then here I come and I have no idea what's going on. But what happened was reason I got it was because the person that was going to play, I was going to play scenes with, audition with me, and he was so tired. And I was playing like this Lolita person. I suppose the temptation would be to flounce around and go, oh, look how sexy I am. And I didn't do that because he was really tired. I patted him on the face, and I think that they thought, well, that establishes that there's deeper than this poor guy is chasing around after a Lolita, after a kid. That's kind of gross. But if it looks like they actually have a more layered relationship like that, then you can see why that would happen. Okay, that's the longest version of that I've ever told. But anyway, after that, I was damned if I was going to be fired, because can you imagine getting that far and then having to go back home with your tail between your legs? So no matter what I had to learn, I learned, and I was, and so I did. I mean, I had the good fortune of having this woman play my mother who, instead of just thinking, well, I could just slap this like a fly away from my face, she helped me, and she helped me, and she taught me things like, here's how you tie on cue, here's how you do this, and she could have had me for breakfast, and instead she went, no, she's my storyline, which I guess is very pragmatic. She's just lovely, and we're still friends, and she's one of the best friends I've ever had and ever will have. And I love her. So anyway, it was a great experience because I got to act every day on camera, and that's the only way to learn how to act.
Right.
Because
Right. Have the experience.
you have to learn how to survive. And then plus I got to, because I was already working, I got to avoid a lot of the icky stuff that happens to actresses when they're kids and they go in and all the guys are like, drooling on them and stuff because they're so young and impressionable and stuff. I was already a professional, so I didn't have to deal with a lot of that stuff.
That's
which
good.
that's a huge blessing. I had to do some of it, but not the same thing because you're already, you know, you're already in the game. You're not.
Right. You're not.
You're
You
less.
don't come off as like a easy prey kind of.
You're less of a tasty
Yeah.
snack.
Yeah.
Less of a tasty snack, and
A
also they don't.
snack.
They also don't want to. There's more chance that you're going to tell on them and all this other stuff. So yeah, a lot of it. I didn't have a lot of that. Oh, it was the '80s, and there was a lot of sexism. That and our attitude at the time was. Everybody's attitude was, well, it's a rough business, and if you can't take it, maybe you shouldn't be in it.
Right.
So deal with it. And I think that was true across the boards, probably in most professions. And so that's what we did. You just did common sense thing, like if that person's like giving you vibes, stay away from them. Don't go any place by yourself. Those kind of things. But it's gone on since the beginning of time, and I suppose things are probably we're in a lot better shape now than we were then. But like I said, it was icky, but you just didn't question it. It was just the way it was.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you're lucky to have avoided that, at least.
A lot of it. Now, I didn't say
Yeah.
I didn't say I dodged the whole bullet. I dodged maybe 3/4 of a bullet, but not the whole thing.
You mentioned having friends that you made. How do you in the business, how is it hard to maintain those friendships over all the years?
Well, when you're younger, it's not, just because in everybody's life, it's easier to make friends when you're younger. And then
Right.
as you get older and people have families and everything, like a couple of friends I have, I mean, they had kids and I didn't basically see them for like 15 or 20 years, and now they're back because their kids are all grown up. So that happens like in everybody's life, I think.
Right.
I Yeah, I mean, I think I have at least one or two good friends from almost everything I've done. It's because the way that we work, you have to be pretty vulnerable with each other, and I think you get to know each other a lot longer than, I mean, in my everyday life, I could know somebody for like 8 years and like never really know them because they're just
Yeah.
around. But when you're acting with them, you get to know them pretty well, pretty fast, and so that there's a deeper bond there.
Right.
Um,
It is a way more intimate type of
yeah,
working experience than working at McDonald's together or something. It's
right.
yeah.
But it's hard to maintain friendships though, because everybody's doing their own thing, and really have to. I mean, the thing we all have to be aware that friends are important, and you have to maintain that. You can't just take them for granted
No,
because
that's for sure.
everybody's busy.
Yep. Exactly.
But also, I was lucky too because I had my first like 3 directors were women, so I didn't even know that there was a problem. I was
Right.
getting these great, but there's like a little rift in there where they had great female roles, young female roles, and I was like Lolita, and I was the plot pusher on that show because I was evil and stuff. It was a great part. And then I had another soap where I did the same thing, and then Fast Times was a little bit risque. I was auditioned for Stacy, but I didn't get the part, but they gave me the cheerleader, and I was like, the cheerleader? Are you kidding me? But as far as a cheerleader, from a cheerleader as you can get. And then nowadays I look at it and I go, of course they thought I was the cheerleader, because look at my personality.
Yep. You're like the
But I didn't
you're
say that.
like the cute bubbly blonde and yeah.
Well, just supportive and all that stuff, but yet, take no crap.
Yep.
Um, and so now, I mean, these years later, I finally understand it. And then, I was kind of on a roll and I got those final girl parts. I didn't really know that there's a problem because there was a female director and all sorts of female executives that ran ABC daytime. And then Amy Heckerling, obviously, was a woman. And so I didn't know what everybody's talking about until then eventually it caught up with me and I go, oh, now I see what they're talking about.
Right.
That women don't really have as much of a place in the business as I thought they did, taking that for granted.
Yeah. So what were some of the movies that you watched as a kid that made you come to the decision that I want to be a movie star?
Oh man. Well, actually, when I got to school, I stopped wanting to be a movie star because I went to Shakespearean
Okay.
Conservatory School. And then it was all about the work. and I would be embarrassed to tell them that I wanted to be Betty Davis, because that just was not going to fly where I went to school. But I came back to that when I, learned some self-acceptance about, it wasn't really that I wanted to be a movie star. It was that I wanted to do what movie stars did, which I remember watching these old movies with my mom, and there were Katharine Hepburn and Bringing Up Baby and Susan Hayward. And, it was just sort of I could see that my mom took those movies she got out of her everyday life. And I was watching her watch them. And I thought, I want to do that because I want to make my mom feel like that, or like everybody feel like that. And you could see too, because again, in the Midwest, you don't really walk around emoting like crazy and being dramatic. But those people thought nothing of throwing things, or you got to see people express their emotions and express the human condition without judging it in a way that you don't see in real life. And I wanted to do that.
That kind of carries over into like the convention thing. But you actually get to really firsthand see how the movies affected people.
That's a stunner. I'll tell you, I had no idea. And in fact, a lot of us felt the same way when the internet came in. People would say, "Oh, there's a shrine to your movie," or there's we had no idea these people watched us or remembered us at all. And like myself and Barbara and Catherine, and I mean, a lot of us we didn't even know that. So of course, because it meant so much. And then you get to these shows and people will tell you things like, "That was the first movie I ever saw with my husband," or "That was the first time I took myself to the movies and I took the bus into the city to see it," or we didn't have, my mom worked at over the night shift and we didn't have a babysitter, but my mom would put Night of the Comet on because you guys had guns and we felt safe. I mean, just these things, and you just you start tearing up just listening to these people tell you. And there's nothing like it. I mean, talk about feeling like, you did something good with your life. I mean, sure, it wasn't like curing cancer, but you did what you set out to do, which is make that connection with other people.
It is.
Yeah, it's cool that people have, special moments in our lives that movies are connected to. Like Steve and I have talked to a lot of other guests about like early introductions to horror, and maybe had a cousin or a brother or sister that showed you a movie maybe at a young age, that that maybe was a little questionable, but you have a memory of that, that'll never leave. Do you have a moment like that yourself? Like, was there something that you watched with someone growing up that
I was always drawn to that real dark stuff. I love Nosferatu. I mean, we had those local channels that would play, I think it was Sunday morning, they would play the old like Frankenstein and old Dracula stuff. And I love that stuff. There's something so, I didn't know what it was at the time because I didn't know what erotic was, but it was something so romantic and sexy and vintage about the whole thing. And then I think he was legitimately scary, especially at the end there. And then also my mom would turn on the television and go into the kitchen or something, and I'd be watching The Birds. What did you let me watch that for? I was freaking horrified. The one where they knocks a little girl down and she's picking on her head. What did you let me watch that for? And she was like, "Oh, I forgot about that part."
I forgot it was a scary movie.
Oh, well, she didn't really, it didn't really register that these are scary movies that you shouldn't watch. And we didn't have that in my house. It was, it was a movie, and sometimes it was scary. Like,
my mom watched The Birds at their local theater uptown, and then she had to walk home by herself after that. It scared the crap out of her. Birds following her home.
Oh, yeah.
They knew she watched it.
Well, you're a little kid, and birds, you see, you have those cute stories about bluebirds and robins, and then all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there not expecting anything, waiting for my macaroni and cheese or whatever it was. And my mind was blown, and there was Psycho and I mean, all that stuff. She just didn't censor any of that stuff. It's all on television. We would sit up late, and I would try to sit up as long as I could, but I'd always pass out. But sometimes we'd order a pizza, and so that was my experience of the movies. So it was pretty intimate for me and pretty special.
Did she make a extra effort to educate you that it was all just movies and Hollywood magic, or did she
No,
just let you go and be scared? And
no. I mean,
no?
I mean, what you know what? There was one thing. One part of that. Every year, and in these olden days, if you wanted to watch The Wizard of Oz, it came on once a year.
Right.
And for some reason that movie, understand now that I took some psychology classes, I realized that people who are traumatized love The Wizard of Oz. I didn't, it makes sense to me now, but at the time, it just hit something inside me. I would start crying so hard I couldn't stop. And it would upset my dad so much. He, don't let her watch that thing. And he remembered the next year, and he goes, she's not watching that, goddamn thing. And so I had to sit there and pretend not to cry. So
Choking it back. Yep.
so my mom even said, if it's going to make you feel like this, we shouldn't really watch it anymore. But it just, I don't know. I was, talk about catharsis, and I didn't even know why. We're just little kids, so we don't know. But then there was, so I got to have a pair of shoes for school, and they were Mary Jane's, and there was black and there were red. And because I just watched that, I wanted the red ones. Yeah. And my mother was starting to get mad at me because she's like, you're not going to wear red shoes to school every day. And my dad uncharacteristically said, just let her have them. And I wore those things until stuffing was coming out of the top.
So Dad was the favorite that week.
Well, it's just so you would just, people just do things that you don't expect them to do because in your mind they're going to react always a certain way, which is why marriages and stuff and break up and people fall out of love. It's because you expect that you think you know what they're thinking, you think you know what they're going to do, instead of watching and seeing what they're going to do and experiencing it in the real moment. You're so sure that you know what they're going to do that pretty soon it's over, and the same thing with our parents. We know very well what they're going to say and do. No, we don't. You just never know.
Yeah.
So that was one of those times you just never know.
Good pleasant surprise. So
Right.
Then as later on in life we watched television all the time, and it was less the movies, but I would still watch the movies at night with my mom. But then it was all TV.
Yeah. Are you still a TV and movie watcher regularly?
I don't watch TCM as much as I would like to because my husband likes horror too. So we're always watching horror, and sometimes he's less so now. But when I first met him, he was like, "Let's watch the crappiest horror film we can find." He really liked that, but now he's more discerning, I guess. But I do all the streamers and the horror movies and Shudder, of course, and I do gravitate towards some darker stuff.
Are there any recent titles that you both really enjoy?
Oh yeah, many. Of course, now that you said that, of course we're watching Yellow Jackets, and we're watching I can't wait for Exit. The whole well, this is not recent, but one thing that we just like our teeth fell out of our mouth was St. Maud.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't catch that one, but I've heard.
And nobody, very, very luckily for us, nobody told us what was going to end up to be.
No one spoiled that for you. That's good.
My husband doesn't care that much for comedy horror, which that's kind of what I get cast in a lot.
Yeah, I love good comedy horror mix.
Doesn't like it so much, and so I do, and I also have to watch it because it's my profession. I want to see what's going on. So I kind of have to watch that stuff by myself because he really likes it when it's very scary. But yeah, we watched. The minute somebody asked me that, I draw a blank. There's a kind of a dumb movie, and it's got a dumb title. Oh, I can't think of it now. I'm so sorry. I can't think of it.
Well, maybe you'll remember it by Crypticon, and
oh, I'm sure I will. See, once we're done talking, I could actually go through and see what we watched because he writes them down. He writes every single thing that we ever watched. So all I have to do is say, can you just please send me that list? Right, and so I'll have it for you guys.
I just watched a fun one on Shudder called Aliens versus Kids. That was kind of cool. That's one of their featured movies on Shudder right now. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, it has I don't want to say it's as dark as Stranger Things because it's not, but it has some vibes of Stranger Things, maybe Home Alone, just kids battling creatures, and it was fun. It was a
Wow.
good 90-minute ride. Yeah.
We didn't have that kind of stuff as readily available
Right.
in the olden days that they do now. Kids just have so much good stuff to watch. Well, we do too. I mean, there's just so much more variety and so many. I mean, you could get into the negative side of things, or on the positive side. I always think that, I mean, we all know it by now. We were saying it before, but now everybody's saying it's horror is having its heyday. It's having another renaissance, of course. But people are just going in and being so inventive, and they're going into horror because they want to go into horror, and not because it was at one point it was a way to get a movie made without a lot of money and to guarantee that it's probably going to make money, and you get your foot in the door that way,
Right.
and then hopefully go on and do something different. But now people are getting into horror because they love horror.
So what do you, as somebody that's been in the business for a while, why do you think it's on this this upswing now?
Well, I think it's very cathartic for people. I think that people keyed into that. It's cathartic, and also because it's so much. I think people realize that now that it's more sophisticated than what they thought it was, which is just, oh, it's slasher stuff. And they kind of dismiss it. But I think that because there's so much more of it available now, there's so many different ways of watching.
Yeah, all the streamers and everything.
Yeah,
so readily available.
And it's just for me, I always thought it was cathartic because I think it was Wes Craven said, the terror isn't in the movies, the terror is in life.
Right.
And so, but and it also, in a visceral way, physically, it lets that fear and tension out of our bodies, because there's nothing like actually being afraid in a movie where you're going to be okay, right? You can get involved vicariously, and it releases some of that stuff. Whereas in real life, a lot of people are just either you stuff it down, when you're anxious or fearful about what's going on in the world, or well, basically you stuff it down. But
yeah,
or you just take it so much to heart that you can barely walk around, from depression and stuff, or and it's just a really useful tool.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, it's in the movie, you're going to be okay. In real life, there's no assurances.
No, there's not.
So you take the entertaining side, and like when your mom watched movies, you could see her having that escape. It's all that together, and that's why I love movies. I love especially horror movies, because even the, excuse my language, even the shitty ones are entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
They're entertaining.
Here's the thing about horror movies too, is no matter how much it sucks, that somebody put their heart and soul and tried their damnedest to make that a great movie, and probably spent every dime and more than they had available to them.
Yep.
And went after it like it was the most important thing, gave their heart and soul, and God bless them. I mean, even if they didn't, you could also see that happening. It's like, oh, somebody went out to lunch there. But how many times do you watch something that's not good for the fun of it in another genre? You don't.
Nope.
No, and there's no such thing as romantic comedy genres or period piece genres. There's horror convention genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really have drama film conventions.
No comedian, no rom-com conventions. We have. It appeals to people that otherwise might feel misunderstood. I think that there's a great connector in horror, and because when you're being scared is the great leveler. I mean, a mass murder comes after you, and he really doesn't care if you're the most popular kid in school or the outcast in school. You're still almost dead. You might be dead. It's just I think it just touches a point of us where we all, it's a great connector.
Yeah, we're all on like the same level ground.
Yeah.
You're not special. You could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wanted to rewind just a hair, talking about actors and people that got into horror back in the day as like it being an early entry into film and things like that. I gotta say, people that like yourself who did horror, earlier in your career and then go back to it again later really stand out to me. And I think others in the horror community, we appreciate you guys a hell of a lot more because I maybe I'm wrong here, but it gives me the impression that, oh, they really do like horror. They're not just doing it for a paycheck, like they keep going back. I mean, another example of an actor, Kevin Bacon, the guy constantly goes back to doing horror content, which makes me think, okay, he's really one of us. He's really into it.
Well, they're great stories. They're great characters, and talk about what's the word the stakes are so like automatically high in a horror movie, and you get to explore weird psychological, creepy stuff that that it's just out there in the horror movie. You can try to find it in the scripts, and you can do that, but that's what it's about, and that's what the subject matter is in horror. It's just amazing. I mean, when I was a kid too, my agents. It was not a cool thing to be in horror when I was coming up, and so I did a couple, and they're like begging me, please stop this, please stop this. And well, number one, I was, I had to support myself. I wasn't a trust fund kid, and I was making money doing what I did, so that was good enough for me. And I thought there was nothing wrong with horror movies. I thought they were fun. I thought they were great. I mean, the people were great, and I was used to having like over the top situations to play because I came up on a soap opera, and then working on Shakespeare before that. Those are not small. None of those things are small, like subtle mediums. So it's kind of used to it. And that's what I gravitated towards. So I didn't see anything wrong with it at the time, and I couldn't understand. I mean, I couldn't understand the snobbery, and I still think that they're wonderful. And just the people coming now that want to do horror, they're not just going in for a paycheck or a calling card that they can have.
They're going at it with a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah,
a lot of new people. Yeah,
you also and a lot of sophistication about it too. It's of course there's a thing with horror that with most horror movies you can't think about it too much.
right.
Yeah,
kind of falls apart when you really think about it. But I think that there's quite a bit of effort to make it track, and make it not just for the sake of being a horror movie.
That's probably what makes it appeal to me so much, is because you don't have to think about it much. Because it's the escape, the entertainment. I want to sit down and be entertained. I don't want to pick apart your movie. I don't want to be a critic.
Right.
I just want to be scared or laugh or cry or just be entertained and have a good time.
There's a monster and he's hungry. There's some people.
I need this 90 minutes of my busy life, working 40 to 50 hours a week. I just give me this 90 minutes so I could escape all that and have a good time.
I think too, in these days, we're all so in our heads by necessity that anything that gets us out of our heads for a second is going to be really good for us.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you could go to see a different kind of movie, and I don't know if you're going to be out of your head or not. Some depending on the story, depending on your personality, but it's probably if you get into it at all, you're going to be able to get out of your head and enjoy a horror movie, just because, they're running, and if they get caught, they're going to die.
So,
except for the final girl. I love being the final girl.
And watching the movies, it's okay to root for the people to die, which is not something you do in normal life.
A lot of directors are good at making characters kind of annoying. We're like, oh God, will you just get rid of that one?
Samantha, the Night of the Comet, was supposed to be that. She's supposed to be the one who can't wait for her to die. But they changed it. Yeah, thank God.
Thank God, yeah.
But that's what they originally were going to do. No, we always look at each other and go, that guy's got to go.
Yes. Yep.
Early on, that guy's got to go. I can't wait for her to die.
I I kind of like when they surprise you, like Cabin in the Woods. You know, you watch that movie or some other films where you're like, okay, I expect so and so to die. You're like, wow, they're still here.
Yeah, why are they still here?
You're wrong. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what for you personally, what would be like a dream role throughout any role throughout any movie throughout history, anything? What would have been a dream role for you?
Oh wow. Hannibal Lecter.
That would be interesting. I'd never.
You should
That's
make
the
a new one. You
last.
can play his sister.
No, I'll
Do you want
play
to be the straight up killer? Yeah, I like it. Like it. Why that character?
Well, Anthony Hopkins is my favorite actor. So
It
I
is
really,
amazing. Yes.
I
Yeah,
think just
great choice.
the way he played that was having so much fun and the twinkle in his eye and just like unabashedly vicious nature of a, he had so much self-acceptance. And he enjoyed his life so much. And I just thought that's the way you play.
That was a terrifying character. You're such a low key, just mellow character. He just made it scary.
Yeah.
He made it scary. Like I take, Freddy and Jason, bring them on, but I run into Hannibal Lecter. I'm like, keep my distance. I'm cool.
Yeah. And what we hear about him too is that just because he gave somebody in the next cell a thought or whatever, that they killed themselves because of something he did. That's the kind of power he has when he doesn't even look at it.
Yeah.
And then you see him and he does not disappoint because you can see why that happened when they, oh yeah, I could see where that would happen.
So, and throughout your career, you've encountered all kinds of monsters and killer robots and zombies and magical little troll imps and Bolinellis and what are some of your favorite movie monsters from movies you've been in and just in general?
Oh, I always like I like Godzilla and I like what's the one where the two monsters it was just a recent one. I really love the monsters. Of course I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, so one of them is kind of like they had a fight. One of them was kind of like the less nice monster. This is ridiculous.
Come on, Caleb, you got
Man,
this. But
I'm
I
trying.
do agree with Godzilla. I'm all about that one.
And for me, King Kong is like a tragic figure. I
Yeah.
cried so hard at the end. It's like he was the one that got the shaft,
Yeah.
So that's kind of a thing with me too, is I'll be on the monster side.
Yeah.
But Satan and the Exorcist, those kind of things.
Oh yeah.
That's
The scary stuff that we don't really see, but we
Yeah.
see it, but we know it's there. Yeah.
yeah, like with Jaws too.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I was just thinking. I was just thinking of a Alien. Like we don't really see it through most of the movie, but it's something bad's out there. And it's scary.
And it's coming at you, and there's nothing you can do. There's like you can't talk it out of it. You can't outrun it. You can't reason with it. You have no. It's
Yeah.
That's the end of that story.
You're in trouble. Yep, that's it. Pretty much.
What else? I like the killbots too. I like let's see. I didn't really have much to do. Well, except in my dreams, I didn't have that much to do with zombies. Except for we weren't heavy on the zombies in none of the comic, but I did have a dream sequence, which was weird because at the same time we were shooting that Nightmare on Elm Street, the same makeup person that was doing Freddy did our zombie cop. And we had that dream sequence. It's a funny thing where you, in movies, it's like 3 or 4 people. It's like a group thought will come up with in a similar vein. I don't know why that happened, but all of a sudden it was people were dreaming about stuff, and there were that kind of it's just kind of weird. Is that even though it wasn't Freddy, I was doing the same thing, a little bit of the same thing in the dream sequence with the same makeup artist.
Right.
So.
You actually auditioned for Nightmare, didn't you?
I did. Mm-hmm. I did. And
did you get pretty close to getting it? What were you auditioning for?
No idea. But funny thing is, Robert Englund. We were doing Chicago Flashback a few years ago now, several years ago, And he came up to Catherine and myself and he goes, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "Kinda." And he goes, "Red Fro." And I go, "Oh God." Yes, because well, we were all young and stuff and running around sitting in these audition rooms. And I didn't put it together until he said Red Fro. It's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, of course. Of course. And yeah, and then much has been Heather Langenkamp obviously auditioned for my part too.
Right.
And so it's just weird to think how if different actresses had done different roles, what a different thing that would have been.
Completely different movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they let Freddie keep the red fro.
Yeah.
If he's burnt to death, he doesn't have any hair.
Yeah, I know. Just a bad joke on my part. Sorry.
Although I have seen a couple of movies that are supposed to be like the dead burn victims, and they have hair, and I always go, if you burn to death, why do you have hair?
Right.
But then,
That'd be the first thing that would burn off you. Yeah.
Don't think that's one of those don't think about it too much things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try not to overanalyze it.
Exactly.
So out of all the different movies and scenes that you've been a part of, is there one that comes to mind that you maybe wish you could have done different, or is there like an idea that you have for a scene, or an idea you had for a scene, or that's something you would like to do? Is there anything any scenes in the film that like you had an idea for that you wish you could have pitched to the director?
Oh, well, it started when I was at Shakespeare class, but every day walking home from the soap opera, I'd think, you know what I should have done there?
Right.
And it would freak me out until I talked to one of the directors and he said, I think the same thing every night on my way home. We all do. Yeah, I can't watch myself because I go, what did you say it like that for? What so I don't like to watch myself too much, although we get so far into the past with these things too that it's almost like it's not us anymore. Enjoy it a little bit more. I mean, the last time Catherine and I sat and watched Night of the Comet together at a film festival, we just went, you're such babies right there. You could sort of, it's not you anymore almost.
Yeah.
So that's, I can't watch myself without going, well, that's not the way I thought that was gonna come out. Or, I thought I was doing this, but it doesn't look like that. And all the time.
So we are a couple weeks away from Crypticon.
Yes.
So let's talk about some convention stuff. What do you personally look forward to at these shows?
Oh, I like seeing the fans and hearing those stories,
Yeah.
Very much. That's the main thing. I also really enjoy seeing people that I don't see all the time. I mean, especially during the pandemic and afterwards. I mean, I realized I hadn't seen or talked to Felissa Rose in like 3 or 4 years, and then we're running around the hall, and we went, oh my God, we haven't seen you. You realize it's been 3 years. It's crazy. So that's a real joy. And it's still, even though the pandemic has been over for a while now, I still appreciate that. It's like, see people. And there are, people that I'm fans of that I've never met in person before, even still. And it's fun to see those people. And I don't know. I just I like to walk around and see what the vendors have all the time too.
Right.
I really have to discipline myself. As I'm not here to spend money.
Are there any guests at this year's Crypticon that you already know and are looking forward to seeing again, or people that you haven't met yet that you would like to meet?
Probably. I have not looked at the rest of the guest list, honestly.
Oh, okay.
So, because sometimes I like to be surprised, but like a week before I'll look. Yeah, and I'm
okay.
like, ooh, yeah. Because also I know people they come on it. They sometimes they don't end up having to go. I just like to see how the guest list evolves. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like maybe like by next week I'll start looking.
Yeah. So you mentioned trying to be disciplined and not spend money at the shows, but I'm sure it's happened. What's probably been one of the coolest things that you've found at one of these conventions?
Well, I like the clothes. I'm a sucker for the horror dresses. and the
Right.
golf dresses and the necklaces and things like that. I'm a sucker for that stuff. It's more readily available these days, but there was a point in time when you could only get cool clothes at a convention because they just didn't
Right.
have them otherwise.
All
Um,
all before all the online shops and everything. Now it's
now they're easier to get, but at that time you couldn't find a dress with spiders on it.
Yeah. Right.
You have to really look.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just the whole thing. It's kind of like a magical, like a carnival experience, and it's an all day long thing for me, And then I get up and come back downstairs, and it's another all day thing. So it's really immersive,
Yeah.
and the people that come up to the table are incredible. I never know who it's going to be or what they're going to say or what kind of a story that they're going to tell me, and it's just, and plus now we get to hug, we get to touch each other now again, so you can hug a person in a picture with, for a long time. Well, actually, like sometimes people still have their masks on, and you have to remind them, take your mask off just for this picture. We'll both hold our breath, because if you forget to do it, then they'll walk away, and you realize that person has their mask on in that picture. Get them back here. They're not going to watch.
Or they don't believe, like, yeah, I just took this picture with Kelli Maroney, and they're like, I don't know if that's really her. She's under that mask. Like,
Well, no, them.
yeah, them too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so I always like to, I get photo approval, which means, because especially if I'm wearing light eyelashes and stuff like that, it's really easy to have your eyes shut or be making a goofy expression. I always want to make sure that they got a good picture,
Right.
because it's there's nothing worse, that you just make sure that you like it before. Here's my advice to all convention goers: make sure you like what you got before you walk away. And you don't, you know what? If you don't, come back. 'Cause people, we all want guests to be happy.
Yeah. And the thing, it's most people are so nice that they won't tell you, like, oh, I don't like this picture or something. And I mean, it's like a special moment for fans to be able to meet one of their favorite celebrities. It's like a big, it's, so a lot of people, it's a once in a lifetime thing. So like, you want that moment to be perfect, and you want to remember it well, and you want it to be just,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, somebody who's been, enjoying a movie of mine or something for years and years and years, and finally I meet them. You bet I want them to be glad that they met me and not sorry that they met me.
Yeah. Like, why did I like that movie? No. Yeah.
Well, no, because I've seen it happen. Like, not so much at conventions, but in life, I've seen it happen where, they say never meet your heroes. Or a person had a bad experience with somebody, and that's going to ruin that fandom there for the rest. They're not going to ever feel that way about that person.
Yeah.
Right.
Not just
Right.
that. It's that it's like the whole thing where they're always that person, a fan of that person, that gets ruined for them. It's not right.
Without naming anyone, had you ever had a moment like that? Like, give her.
Um, I'm kind of chicken shit, so I don't really go up to people.
Right.
I haven't really given them a chance to be rude to me or anything like that. One of them, though, I was always scared to talk to Tom Savini because he always looked so crabby, and I
Yeah.
was afraid he was gonna say something. I don't know. I just never walked up to him and said anything until Carolyn Williams was there, and she said, "Oh, maybe that was true at one point, but he's so nice now because very happily married, and I guess she brought out a softer side or something like that, something to that effect." And it was so funny. I thought I was pretty sure he was gonna like bite my head off or something, which is ridiculous. But I didn't even know I thought that. But I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I wouldn't want to walk up to now. I don't think so. Because people, I mean, people are there to be nice.
Yeah.
They're to have fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And for anybody who's listening that's like maybe hesitant to approach someone at a table, think of it this way: there are tons of people in the building, that might feel the same way as you, and they're all having the courage to come up and say hello to people like yourself and start a little conversation. So if they can do it, maybe you can do it too.
Right. And I'll tell you what, because a person at a convention said, when you were here, because I will, like, years go by if I'm someplace and I don't come back like every every year or anything like that. So it'll be years before I'm back. He said, so when I got here, I was too nervous to come up to you. And I thought, so this guy came to a convention, it's not cheap, got all the way there and then didn't come up and say hello to me. Don't do that. You know, I said, what did you do that for? You know, and so I think he was glad he came up to me this time. But to your point, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're there because we want to meet you.
Yeah.
So do you have any fun convention stories? Any good memories that stand out? Or
Well, I think I've been telling you, yeah, the people who tell me the stories, you know,
Yeah.
about the connections with their movies, and people that tell me that they were too scared to come up last time I was there. And I think, wow, you know, please don't ever do that again, because you know you have every right to be here. And let's see what else. Oh, well, we've had. It's not really a funny story, but there's nothing like going and doing a show and then finding out that the night before somebody came in with a knife, but the knife or a gun, but it was confiscated, and you never knew.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Our lives are in danger. We didn't even know it because they catch them right. Like,
Right.
it's good to know that they're there.
Yikes.
Do
you have a lot of people come cosplaying as your characters?
Yes, and that's so cool. And then I don't even have to be at a convention, but people will send me pictures of other people who cosplay as like Catherine and myself, or like just me or whatever. And they send them to me so they can see those people walking around as me, which is pretty freaking cool. Yeah, but they'll come up, and boy, they're good at it too. Especially the guys that cosplay as me are really funny, really funny. And they'll do like little variations on the outfit. Like this one guy did it with pants, but most of the time they do it with skirts, which is funny. Let's see. What else? I'm trying to think if there's any. I mean, I'm sure that there's something hilarious that I will think of later.
Yep.
I love to see some of the costumes people come up with, and you know, the hybrid outfits, and just the things that the time that people put in to making them look like. Some of them are just movie quality, you know, and like I don't know how they pull it off.
Like the little 3-year-old who they got dressed up as Predator.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen like father and son dressed up as Predator. It's amazing.
I know. It's really cool. So there's that. Well, we had a funny one where we were in the same. Well, I did one convention where it was kind of a crunchy neighborhood, and we were next door to a bead convention. It was us and a bead convention.
Oh man,
which is kind of weird. But then we had one of those little kid beauty pageants that was at the same like hotel complex that we were, and that was odd because we didn't know what it was at first. Nobody knew what it was.
Right.
You see all these little kids, and you didn't know if they were part of our convention, or we didn't know what it was.
I think I heard about that happening at Joe Bob's.
Yeah, it was at, that's right.
Was it at that? Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a few people that were there. They were telling me like, yeah, we're like walking around the hotel, and there's like these little kids dressed up in their pageant stuff, and then here we are, like a bunch of crazy drunks watching horror movies, and it wasn't a good mix. But
you know, it's got to be a little weird for the people that are going to the hotel that Crypticon is featured in that aren't attending,
just passing
like,
through.
what are all these people with costumes on and pinheads having a burger downstairs?
Right. Yeah, they should do more movies like that too. I mean, because it is weird, and they've only scratched the surface of how weird it is for people to see other people at conventions when they're not part of it.
Yeah.
Well, there was one little kid, all dolled up, you know, to the nines, lost, and just standing in the elevator, like screaming her head off. We had to figure out, like, where does she belong? How do we get her there? How can we make her stop screaming? Yeah, I just knew we all knew exactly how she felt. She was just at her, she was just at her. She OD'd. She was at her limit of weird stuff that was happening, and she was lost. And we couldn't make her stop screaming long enough to tell her, "Do you know what floor you're supposed to be on?" all these things. She calmed right down though. I mean, the kids were not scared of us
Right.
at all. We were probably more worried about them than they were about us. They were not phased whatsoever.
Right.
There's a guy in a monster head, so
Yeah.
it just took us in stride.
Yep. Yeah. So do you like at your table at shows, do you bring any like exclusive stuff that you can only find at your convention table or
I try to think of stuff that I think people would like. Right now, I have the little baby killbots.
oh
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, they're really cute. The head moves and everything. I have those. A couple. I have a couple of other people do Night of the Comet and Chopping Mall T-shirts. But they you really shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that without having. You have to have the rights to it. Like Fright Rags will always say, make sure that their ducks in a row about their rights. Um, so but we would really like to have Funkos of us.
yeah,
But
that
so
would be
far,
cool.
That'd be cool.
yeah, it would be really great. I don't know why they haven't made them yet so far. But I try to make it like, something, different. I came up with this idea one time of having red dust and you could have Doris and Muffy or Chuck. You could also have it if there was somebody that you didn't like, be like a, a packet dust. You could have like your ex-boyfriend's name on it.
That's funny.
Probably just Kathy was just like,
Your
no,
boss.
do that. So I mean, there's a lot of things too where you have to consider. It's this unless Mattel is going to take it and make it for us, is it really going to, make a dent in anything? Is it really kind of worth doing? I found these Mach 10s and they're plastic, and I'm trying to figure a way because that would be really cool. Because then Catherine would sign one end of the barrel and I would sign the other. And somehow get it mailed to me so that the TSA doesn't go nuts when they see me with a whole bunch of plastic guns.
Right. Right.
Because, well, there's another thing too, is with all these school shootings and stuff for a long time, I was really uncomfortable with that cheerleader with an Uzi thing. 'Cause I felt
Yeah.
like I don't want to be contributing to this in any way.
Yeah.
People said, "Oh, come on, don't spoil it for us because we like it and we don't think of it that way." And I said, "Okay, all right." 'Cause I've never had, fortunately, knock on wood, I've never had like psychos. I have really nice fans who are respectful and they're very shy sometimes, but they're not like, you don't look at them and go, "Oh, crazy person." And I know that that's not the case for everybody, but in my case, I've always been super lucky with that. And so I really don't think I've ever had somebody come up where I was kind of scared of them or thought that, you know, you don't want to.
It's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had that, but I know that there are people who have. So
Right.
that's gotta suck. But for me, I'm lucky. And I know that some of the ladies at the conventions have guys that are kind of, um, you know,
Don't
really,
understand boundaries. And,
yeah,
Yeah.
but not me. I think it's because Catherine and I have those Uzis, man. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody
Kind of
messes.
a badass and intimidating. Yeah.
Nobody does. I mean, if anything, they're scared of us, kind of. Or just me by myself. I kind of feel like, are they scared of me? But there's also the factor too, because a lot of my characters have really smart mouths. I think that they're afraid that I might say something like, make fun of them if they do something out of line, which I might.
Yeah. I mean, if you get out of line, you deserve it. Yep.
I could. I would never embarrass anyone. But at night,
When you do the conventions in certain cities and towns, do you take time to check out the city and like the local cuisine and stuff a little bit, or
as much as we can. I mean, nothing's more of a bummer than to be at a city where you've always heard stuff and people say, "Oh, you got to try this, or you got to see this," and then you find out you realize that you didn't get there, and now you have to go home, and you didn't get to see anything.
Yeah, you just don't have the time, tight schedule.
Yeah, and not only that, because if we don't have cars or anything, it's not like somebody's gonna, oh, by the way, let's take 2 hours out of the show so you can take me to see something that has nothing to do with why we're here. You just can't do that. So,
Right.
yeah, I never get to see as much, but I mean, there's always something fun to see every place that you go. I really like Seattle, the city of Seattle. I think it's beautiful.
So
And
you've managed to see Seattle a bit though,
not at the convention, but
just
um,
generally.
yeah, when I was a kid, we knew somebody in Seattle, so I saw Pike's Market and all that stuff. Just as a civilian,
Right.
my mom took me there. So I do know that it's there, and I know the Space Needle and all that.
Well, hopefully you get a few minutes to see a little bit when you're here for a Crypticon.
I would love it too, because it's always like too on the way home they're saying, "Oh, did you try that fantastic restaurant?" And you're like,
Yep.
"Oh, why didn't you tell me you were going?" No, I didn't. Now I'm on my way home.
I think that's the only bummer about Crypticon. Like, it's the best convention, but it's the location. It's like right by the airport, so all there is around the airport, like, if they have the convention like in downtown Seattle, you could walk a block or two and find a nice restaurant or something. By the airport, it's just all like Jack in the Box and McDonald's and
Mm,
Taco Bell, so it's not like that's the bummer. Because I like exploring if I stay at the hotel for a convention after
yeah.
the show. I like to get out and wander around and check things out, but you can't really
Yeah.
do that there. It's
Okay, that would explain why we didn't do it then.
You
Yeah,
could
Yeah.
always get online ahead of time and
I
look for
did.
some places, look for some restaurants that you're into, and then like post on Instagram, I really love that number 12, with the extra sauce or whatever. And if you're lucky, maybe a fan will bring it to
Deliver,
you at your
yeah.
table. It's a little cold, but here you go.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Get
I
delivery.
always,
How'd you know?
I always do look and see what's around, like
Yeah.
a hotel it's like, and then also what's around. And sometimes I don't know everything about every city, and I'll learn something about, oh, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know what that city was about.
Right.
You know, but usually it ends up to be that I learn about something that I'm not going to be able to see. So it's a mixed blessing. That's
Right.
okay. I mean, we're there to see the people,
Yeah,
we're there
exactly.
to celebrate horror and see the people and, goof around and get silly and have a lot of laughs and connect and those kind of things.
Just have a good time.
We're
But,
only
a
a
lot
couple
of
hours away, but there's an escape room that I still haven't been able to check out in Seattle yet. I think it's still there. There's supposed to be an Evil Dead escape room
oh, cool.
that I really would like to see, but even as close as we are, still
Someday.
haven't had the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Well, oh yes, along those lines, does anyone have any suggestions for me of what they'd like to see at my table?
Oh, there you go. So people listening,
Yeah.
send her a tweet. She's always super responsive and cool with fans on Twitter.
Tweet, Instagram, Facebook.
Yep.
It's all Kelli Maroney, and if you got an idea for me, I'd love to hear it. Really, because I'll try to get different pictures, that I never had before, and usually it ends up to be that there's like 5 or 6 pictures that are the ones people want.
Right.
I have like little odd things, but usually they don't take off too much. It's the basic ones that you could think of that people still want. Wynorski made me, I said, that there's no picture of me with the Killbot in that whole movie. We're not in the same shot, which is crazy. So he goes, oh, you want a picture with the Killbot, huh? And he takes a picture of a bikini that I'm in for a calendar I did. And he puts the Killbots. So he puts me with the Killbots around me in a picture. He goes, here you are, now you're with the Killbots. That's very popular, and that stayed popular because it's something he would do, and then he's got the little bubbles, and one of them says, I don't have this, but I had it like 5 of them. I'm going to ask her out. And then the other Killbot says, don't, you're just going to make her mad.
That's funny.
So I try to have stuff like that, that for people that are familiar with the movie and like would really get those little things.
It's fun, unique. Yeah.
Somebody's got an idea for me. I would love to hear it. I have pom-poms for Fast Times, and I have the glove, the little white glove. And somebody gave me the idea by bringing it up to the table. And she said, can we just do this with the glove? Like there's a scene, a cheerleading scene, if you don't know the movie, where I have this glove and I take it off one finger at a time with my teeth. That's weird. Sounds weirder than it is. So because she brought them, I thought I'm going to have those. And actually, it was that one-time thing, but I do have them. I thought it was such a great idea, and probably everybody was going to want to do that. but it was her basic thing. But I do have it as a result of that. So if you give me an idea, I will take it.
Nice. There you guys go. So Crypticon, May 19th through 21st. We're a couple weeks away, 2-3 weeks away now.
I am so excited about it.
We're getting very excited. Is there any before we wrap up and let you get back to your day, is there any messages or anything to fans that you want to throw out there besides give you ideas for merch?
Oh yeah, what would you like to see? And just you won't believe how excited I am to see you. So please come and see me. We're gonna have so much fun, and I can't wait for you to be there with me.
And don't be afraid to go up and take a picture with her and say hi.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
She's a badass, but she's not that scary.
Nah.
Without the Uzi, she's not that scary.
Right. Or I have a also that there's a flare. I had a flare made too. I don't know. I could tell you for a long time things that I've tried to do that I thought might take off. It's easier if people tell me what they want to see, because then I'll create that for them.
Maybe like some special edition, like limited pictures. Maybe you could advertise like, hey, I only made 20 of this photo or whatever. When they're gone, they're gone. That might help.
Yeah. I just want this the ones that you'd think that they want.
Yeah.
So I keep trying, I have because, well, just so you know, if I have something, I'll have like 5 of them. And then if they don't, unless people have to have them or something, I only have those 5.
Right.
And somebody said you should number them. So maybe I will do that. I should be numbering the killbots too.
Right. Has anybody brought you something to sign that kind of blew your mind? That was like,
yeah, all these from different countries. There's a movie that nobody's seen, but I really like it, that I did, Face Down, and there it is in French, or there's I think it was a Mexican, isn't it? There's a lobby card, and it's different pictures that they're all like different layouts and different artwork than we had in the United States.
right.
And they're really cool, and I'd never see that otherwise.
Somebody brought you that in the United States. They got a hold of the foreign lobby card and brought it to you.
Yeah, and I've seen them in Russian, and all sorts of different languages too. Or they'll bring actually have one hanging, the United Kingdom poster of Fast Times. Ours are lengthwise. Theirs are horizontal, which I didn't know that. I know it now, but and it's a whole different artwork thing that you never see otherwise. We don't see them here in the United States. They have them, or you can see them now because you can see them if they're for sale online.
Yeah.
But just like little variations of things, like they started out with this particular artwork and then they changed their minds, and it's just really fascinating to see, because you'd think, how could I not have seen something? But it happens all the time.
What about gifts? Anybody bring you any neat gifts that kind of stood out, artwork or anything?
Yeah, well, I have, oh my gosh, and I post them sometimes. I'll just do like Fan Art Friday. I have so many beautiful things. These people are so crazy talented. Sometimes I don't always have them as hard copies, but I do get them online, and I'll just do like a whole reel of all the different artwork, and I just pull them from wherever I find them on my phone, and because it's amazing. And they'll make me bracelets or things like that,
That's
something
cool.
that they do, so that they're sharing what they do with me, as opposed to something that's not even about me, but it's something that they do that they want me to have, which is really nice too.
That is nice. That is very nice.
Yeah.
And everything that you guys give me is in my home here somewhere. It's not like I go, oh, thanks, and everything is here. In fact, I could probably go around and do then everyone would see my whole house, and I'm not sure if I really want that, but
Right.
some of it's okay, and some of it's kind of like, nah. Yeah. But almost every place you look is something that somebody has made or sent me or something like that. I have tons of stuff.
That's all.
Really,
It's got to be nice just walking around the house and just like having those memories of like meeting that person or stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes, as you know, it's there all the time and you don't see it until you're cleaning or something. And you go, oh my God, how many times I forgot I had this? I've been walking right by it every single time, and it's super cool. And then you bring it out and enjoy that for a while. And yeah, it's you don't realize what you have anymore, until you look and you go, my God, I have a lot of stuff here about, artwork, fan art and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. I tell you what, I can have picked anything I would have enjoyed more to do with my life than this. That's a fact.
That's great.
So Crypticon is May 19th through 21st.
Yes. And Catherine and I are going to be there together too.
And I believe you guys are doing a panel together,
I'm
interview.
sure we are. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't look at the schedule yet, but
Right.
usually when we're there together, we'll do a panel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, is there any do you have any movies or anything coming out soon that we can watch for?
Actually, I have a lot of stuff. Well, Scare Package 2, which is already on Shudder, and then this really creepy thing. It was called the part 2. I'm in the part 1, and part 2 is it's called Scalper, and I'm also in that. And then we did this thing called it's a H.P. Lovecraft thing called The Deep Ones, and we just did the sequel to that, which is The Old Ones. And even though I didn't come to a good end in the first one, I'm somehow back because Final Girl. I'm somehow back in the sequel. And of course, there's It's Search of Darkness, which I think is just a hoot. These things are like 5
I love it.
long. And
That's
yeah,
a great documentary. Yep.
I got to be in it 3 times, which is fantastic. I mean, I was very honored to do that. And I have something else. Oh, there's a movie called The Wild Man, which I'm not sure. I know it's still doing the festival thing, so I'm not sure when it's going to be available. And what else? Oh, The Haunted Baby Carriage I did, which is it's really funny. Let's see what else. There's a few things, yeah.
So you're still staying busy. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Sometimes people will say to me, I always think of like the 80s but I'm looking at your resume. God, you've done like a million things. It's like, but you know what? Most actors are like that. You have to, there's 1 or 2 or 3 things, if you're really lucky, that just hit home for people, and that's what you're known for. And you'd like it to be every single thing that you do, but it just doesn't necessarily line up that way. But there's always a couple of things that really hit home. And you wish, like I said, you wish every single thing was like that. But it's just like magic. It's some sort of force of nature where 1 or 2 of them are just really, the audience really relates to. So we always hope that the next thing you do is going to be one of those again. But even most of them have like a smaller appreciation audience. They not like everybody knows that one.
Yeah.
You're special to different people for different reasons. You can say that about a lot of different actors. Like my mom was a soap opera woman. She watched her soap operas every day, every morning. And I know she watched a little bit of One Life to Live. So I'm sure she might have caught you on there, in your time on the show.
Yeah, I was Tina. Yeah.
So I was just thinking about that earlier. Like, God, if I went to a convention with my mom and talked to you there, she may not be familiar with your other things, but she'd be like, "Oh, One Life to Live." Yeah.
That's why I always have a couple of things from the soaps, a couple of stills from the soaps, because that will happen.
Yeah.
At their mom with them, and they don't know what's going on, but they go, "Oh, Kimberly, that's Kimberly." She doesn't have any idea what else I've been on, but so I'll have something if she wants it. Because my fan base is so weird. There's not weird as people, but there are people who only know me from soaps and television. They have no idea about the horror stuff. Then there are people that only know me from horror and have no idea about the rest of it.
Yeah.
And never the main shell tweet, You
gotta find that soap opera horror crossover crowd.
Well, there is now, because it's generational now. It's a lot of times kids will know because of their parents. They'll know who of our stuff, and then they become fans of their own. They go, "It was my dad. He watched that all the time."
Yep.
I just thought of a crossover show that my mom watched actually. Every day after school. What was that vampire show back in the
yeah.
day?
Oh, Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That could be
And
considered one.
we shot Ryan's Hope in that same studio
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
after. Yeah, it was before our time, but it was the same studio. And so to that day, people would always be standing outside the where you walk in because it was the Dark Shadows studio.
Cool.
Remember Dark Shadows from when, I'd come home from school and there it would be on. And it didn't really get into it that much or anything, but there they were. And the show hadn't been on for, it was Ryan's Hope then. That had been on for years. So that's how long it had been since it shot there. But there were still people out there because of Dark Shadows.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's what you say. It's something touching somebody so deeply that they do that. With that being said, a lot of people that you've touched in your career are going to come and see you at Crypticon.
I'm
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to make it as fun for people as we can.
Crypticon's always a blast. It's like our reunion. It's like our horror nerd reunion every year.
That's another thing too, is the fans do that. They make it fun. It's like they have their own reason, like they do reunions and stuff like that. So they have their own separate convention thing happening for themselves, and that's fun to participate in too. Like the Joe Bob's the Mutant Family. We did a signing for. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sorority Babes and the Slime Bolorama Part 2. As Auntie Snake, which is Linnea Quigley's sister. So they came to Los Angeles for the screening, just for giggles. And there they were. They have the Mutant Family has their own thing, almost independent of the show, because they went out and created that community for themselves. It's so fun, It's so great to see that. I don't know if it's the internet or if it's just something special about horror. It's always been like that, or what, but it's a whole family kind of community thing going on, which I don't think we always had that opportunity to do that, but we do now.
I think we just found it's the acceptance, and we found the other weirdos like us.
Yeah.
So we just kind of clung to each other, and it became a thing.
That's why I was so drawn to the genres. There's just something that's weird about us,
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way. And I mean, the horror family, there's people that are fans that will come up to you, they'll look scary, like they are Satan, because that's their cosplay or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you do? They go, oh, I work in an animal shelter.
Yeah.
I work at a hospice.
Yeah.
The sweetest people alive. So it's a really special community that is like no other, and I'm really fortunate to be part of it. And I'm really glad that I gravitated towards it, or it gravitated towards me, or both. Because it doesn't for everybody, and I think that we're lucky.
Very. Yeah. We're lucky to have you part of the community and one of the icons of the community, and we very much appreciate you taking time to come on here and chat with us. Yeah. And look forward to seeing you.
All right. Yeah. Everybody messed up because we're getting ready to have a blast. So
that's it, guys. Yeah. So Crypticon, we're going to have a blast. And that's Kelli Maroney said so. And cool. Well,
hey, we mean business.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
I'm Mr. Lobo of Cinema Insomnia, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. Or are you?
All right, we are back. How fun was she to talk to?
She was really cool.
She was a blast. And I know you weren't super familiar with her movies.
No, I'm not.
But guarantee you're going to go watch them now.
Yeah, she won me over, man.
Yeah,
she was really nice to talk to. It almost makes you feel a little bad, like, oh man, maybe I should have.
Why have I not
watched some things? I mean, I tried to watch Chopping Mall before the interview. I started it, and then the kids came out, and I had to shut it off.
So. Put on Jurassic Park.
That or Dino Ranch, yeah. Oh man, speaking of Dino Ranch, it has the same kind of theme song as South Park. It's like the same tempo almost. So
Right.
when that comes on, any parents listening, if you know what Dino Ranch is, whenever that plays at my house, which is pretty much every day, all day, or at least it has been for the last few weeks, as soon as it comes on, I'm like, well, come on down to South Park and have myself time. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was awesome talking with her. I can't wait to hang with her and visit her at Crypticon.
Yeah.
And you guys too. If you're gonna be there, come hang out. We want to see you.
And be sure to tell Kelly that you listened to the episode.
Tell her you listened to it and tell her it was the greatest fucking episode you ever listened to.
Yeah.
And then don't be scared to go up and meet her and take a picture with her. She's awesome. Trivia. Let's dive right into trivia. We're going to keep it kind of fit the Kelli Maroney Crypticon theme. I'm going to make it easy. You guys know what to do. Message one of us with the answer and we'll send you something. Or if you see us at Crypticon, come up and say, I know the answer.
Yeah.
And tell us. And then I'll reach into my pocket.
And he's going to give you that $8 Snickers bar.
I'll reach in my pocket and I'll pull something real nice out for you. It'd be like a sticker or pins or something. I'll have some
Pocket
Steven
lint.
Crypto swag with us. Yeah, so who directed Chopping Mall? That you mentioned it multiple times. Who directed Chopping Mall?
Your mother.
My mother did not direct it. She'd be a lot cooler if she
didn't?
did. She'd be a lot cooler if she did. But who directed it? Let us know, and we'll send you stuff. I think that about will wrap up this week. This week. We're actually doing weekly for this month.
That's right. And the next episode, as we stated, will be featuring Matthew Patrick Davis, a.k.a. the mother from Barbarian.
And we recorded that interview already, and you guys are going to like it. We get some in-depth stuff. He does his mother voice a couple times, and that was thrilling.
And he has a fun background, even before the Barbarian role. Like, go look him up.
He's
And
definitely not what you would think. For a completely different person than... I mean, most people are different than the mother, but... but he's not... He don't seem like... You'll meet him and be like, wait, that's the guy that played Mother? I don't know.
you're that thing?
Yeah. Either way, next week, Matthew Patrick Davis. This week, we already did. You guys already heard this week's. So we are going to remind you guys to get us on Patreon, patreon.com/SteveCrypto, buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. Those are both ways you could support us monetarily.
That's right. Buy me a coffee. This one's almost out.
Or you can go buy yourself some merch so you could fucking look cool and support us at the same time. And that's on Etsy. Or
You can visit Etsy/shop/Steve and Crypto merch to get that crisp, fresh merchandise from your third favorite podcast.
and social media.
The Steve Strout, Crypto Zoo 88. Also, you can go to our Facebook group, become a member, contribute, or just watch and check out all the,
Just sit back in the darkness and watch like a creep.
like a creeper in the corner with your popcorn. Just watch as all these different people throw in things that they're working on. So if you have something you're working on, go ahead and toss it in there and let everybody see it. A little sample, whatever it is. If it's pop culture related, we want to check it out.
And speaking of working on stuff, keep your eyes and ears open because I got some cool personal gigs coming up that I'm excited about. I'll probably suck and not do a very good job at it, but I got tentatively scheduled a few voiceover roles for a few movies. So I'm hyped getting in that movie business. So you guys support us now before my movie career takes off and I ain't got fucking time for this podcast shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Deluxe Edition Network, all our den mates over there.
Yep.
And
good pods.
we're slipped on a ranking, so we'll not talk about that this time. When we get back up the rankings, we'll brag some more.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm saying it's been a pleasure. Been fun as always. Let's do this
You're
again.
talking as if like you're about to go take off on that new movie career.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is
is
like
the
a
end.
I'm
been
warming
fun.
up. This is me getting in character for
Yeah.
when I'm a superstar.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll have to do a podcast with like your representative or your bodyguard or something.
No,
like
I'll
that.
come and be a guest on your show.
Yeah.
You have to talk to my people though.
Yeah.
But no, but
And I gotta pay you for your appearance.
Yeah. No. We have been the Steven Crypto Show. Go get on our Patreon. We're gonna have some new shit coming at you. Bye guys.
Real soon. Peace.